Hey, I'm not sure if anybody is here yet. I am sending out the link to everybody. Sorry for the echo. For everyone who is here, I'm sending the link out to everybody kind of on the Facebook group, over on my Patreon, over on Instagram, just so everybody can watch from wherever they are. So just a few minutes and then we'll get started. Again, for anybody who is coming in right now, I'm sending out the link to everybody so everybody can kind of come in and watch. We'll be getting started soon. Glad to have you here, Lori. Hey, Jackie, you see what got delivered? So the first thing we're going to do is actually open this up. Alright, so I'm just pulling up the pairing requests that I have, and then if anybody wants to see anything else, they can just say it in the chat. But I'm just going to start with the pairing requests I have, and then kind of talk about like why I'm doing what I do, what I'm doing with the styling, why, like how I'm choosing props, how do I know what product's going to look good. We're just going to just go through it all together. Let me pull up the list. Alright, one sec, just grabbing the list again. Hello. One sec. My post is like lost in my notifications. I cannot pull up the list. Give me one more minute. All right, we got it, guys. All right, so for those of you who don't know, my name is Jess. I'm the person who does all of the photos for Replica surfaces. I do have my own business that I do outside of Replica, but basically everything I kind of do is like all about teaching product photography and stuff like that. So I wanted to do an actual live pairing of all of the VIP requests with you guys, because this collection is one that I personally really like, and I love how there's so many different styles. It's like everyone gets to eat at this table. If you like colorful, if you like neutral tones, if you like moody, if you like kind of more light and airy, classy, everyone gets to have something. So I thought this was a perfect thing to kind of just jump in and just go. So first thing I want to do, we do have Jackie in the chat, who is the owner of Daremont Decor. She sent me some brand new trays. So the first thing we're going to do is going to open these things up and then actually use them as a prop in some of the stuff we do. So you guys might actually recognize these because I use these all the time in a different color. So we have this as the pen dish. And we have this oval tray. And then I actually have the other ones actually right here. One sec, let me just fix the camera because the camera just got a little bit blurry. One sec, just fixing the camera so it's not blurry. Focus. Alrighty, that should be good for you guys now. And here are our other two trays that were actually in this collection. All right, and I'm just going to kind of just go down the list and talk about what we're doing. So first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to do some pairings with pastel. So give me a sec as I grab these. So we're going to start by just having it down for our bottom surface. And then we grab the other ones. So the first one we're actually going to do is called Jade Tile. It's this one. So it's hard to put them in kind of like one-handed so I'm not blocking the camera. Alright, so with this, since we have pastel, I really like to use other kind of pastel products. So I have a client that actually makes really cute plushies, and I actually just got in some new products for them to shoot next month. So we're going to actually start with this coin purse. Now, something important to note, you can see that I have my light over to the left, and then I have a white surface over to the right. This is how I do pretty much like 90% of all of my lighting and styling, is I have my light source to either left or right, directly on the side, and then I have the all-white surface on the other side. I'm not going to be you can use one of the L stands to actually pinch this top. I'm not going to be doing that today just because we're going to be switching through so many surfaces. Also, you don't ever see that crack because I'm really going to just be focusing right here. But let's go ahead and start shooting. So for this one, I want to kind of keep it simple and just kind of really focus on this product. And I want to have this product lined up perfectly with the line coming down here. All right, so we're going to shoot this real quick. And again, if any of you guys ever have any questions, totally feel free to just drop them into the chat. We're going to be here roughly till around like 8:15ish Eastern Standard Time. Now I'm going to go ahead and swap this. This time I actually want to do... Let's grab this. Switch our surface out. Again, I'm doing it one-handed, so it's a little bit more difficult. This time I actually want to make this the backboard. I don't know if you guys can kind of see this like in the camera, but this looks so gorgeous in person. As much as I love like neutral tones and dark and moody stuff, I am a massive sucker for anything kind of colorful and especially pastel. So here we have peony tile and pastel as the backboard. And this time I'm actually going to use a larger product. So from the same client, do it here. Now see how this is kind of leaning a little bit forward? I want this to lean back like this, just so it looks better in the frame. Also, this is a larger product, so how can we fit this whole thing in the frame and it look good? Well, I'm going to show you that too. Give me one sec. So typically when I do this, I kind of have to figure out like how do we get this to lean back a little bit further. So the number one way I always do it is I just grab something like here. I just have this stone riser. I'm actually just going to place this in the back here. Now, important to note, when shooting larger products, normally you want to keep your products a little bit farther away from the backboard. However, when you shoot larger products, you can have them a little bit closer and it gives you more view around the outer edge. So what we're going to do is I still want to have, I don't know if you can kind of see between the blocks here, I still have about roughly 4 inches to 6 inches away from the back. But I'm just going to set this here. And then I'm just going to lean my product up against it like this. Now it might possibly move just because I haven't actually tested this, and we'll see. So it's starting to fall, which means I need to put a little bit more weight back here, which then I'll just grab a large square, put this in the back, and now when I put this back, it's not going to lean on that prop. Just like that. Now we'll take this shot really quick. And I actually want to scoot back my surface a little bit just because my light is a little bit in the front. Best part about having the Replica studio is you can just lightly make any adjustments you need when working on your shoots. So you have this here. Shoot this to see how it's looking. Now, if I wanted to do some styling to this, because the first photo we didn't have any type of products in it. Sometimes I like to take just examples of how the surfaces look by themselves, and you can kind of visualize that. But let's actually get to some styling. So with a setup like this, I would want to lean into more light colors, which means I would want either white and pink florals or some type of like white greenery, which I have both of them here. And now we just kind of see which one looks best. So I have these here, which I think I'm going to prefer, because these are a little bit off-white. I think these look better with the tans. So I think I would prefer actually using these. Now these are actually fake, And I'm going to keep them far away so you can't see that they're fake. Rip off that tag. I'll just put this here like this. Just like that. And now we'll see how we're looking. I'm also going to adjust my light a little bit just to help light up the other side. All right, and now let's do another one. So let's go ahead and pull this all down. All right, let me see what other kind of pairings we have. So I'm actually going to switch off from pastel and let's check out some other surfaces. So we're gonna grab both of these. And this time we're going to use the surface canvas, which I think everybody probably knows. My favorite surface is actually like ivory clay. That's the one I use the most. This is probably my new favorite surface. It's very similar in color as ivory clay, but it has a little bit more texture to it. I don't know if you can see in the video. I know you can definitely see it in the photos, but absolutely gorgeous. It is definitely, I like to keep like my personal top 10, 15, and I think this one just became a part of that top 15, or top 10. All right, let's see what we're working with. All right, 1 second, I grab the surfaces. Just grabbing on a couple extra ones we're going to do for the next one as well. All right, so we have on the bottom canvas, and the first one we're going to do is called Designscape. This actually came out last January. I was really excited about this pairing, which I'll show you in a second. But something that I like to do, especially when I'm shooting for replica surfaces, is my job is to shoot what you could possibly do with these backdrops. So something I like to do that I'm sure you guys have noticed is sometimes I will keep the same setup, but I'll switch the back surface. The reason I do this is because I want to show how versatile the surfaces are and how much of a difference just changing your back surface does. So we're going to talk about my process of how I do that and also show you an example of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to style something on this bottom surface here, which is canvas, and then I'm going to switch the back surface into a couple different options so you can see how much the look changes just from switching out the back surface. So now when I'm shooting with the scape surfaces, I don't like to go too crazy with like a bunch of stuff. Sometimes I do, but I typically like to keep it a little bit more simple so that you can really see all of the gorgeous detail in the scapes. And with that, I think we try out one of Jackie's brand new trays. So I'm going to start by just placing this here. And I think I'm actually, one of the things that I like to do with Jackie's trays, normally when people make stuff, they would put their brand at the bottom. Jackie doesn't do this because she knows I like to use her props and her products both like this and also flip them. What's so great if you don't own any Damron Decor items is the fact that you technically get 2 props because you can use it 2 different ways, which really does make a huge difference in your photos. So I'm going to actually flip this upside down, keep it like this, and now let's put some stuff on it. So this was a product that I genuinely really liked while doing the entire artisan collection. I really liked using, these are bath salts from Holder Handmade, and the reason I liked using them so much is because she has multiple different versions that they all have different looking colors. So I can really have a pretty drastic looking array of products to show off with all different colors and everything like that. But let's just start with this one. So now something that I like to think about when I'm actually doing product photography is, one, does the photo look good? But at the same time, I want to think, what is the story behind this? So right now we just have a random product I pulled off of my shelf, which if I turned my camera, you could actually see, which I can twist it really quick. It probably won't update right away, so I actually can't see what you guys are seeing. There we go. So I have all of my products to the right. These are products that I try to change out every couple weeks to use for my Replica services or for my Patreon videos or any of my Instagram content. And then over the left, I have a bunch of different props. We'll switch back to here, see how we're looking. I just need to adjust this because I lifted it a little bit. 1 second. So I get, unironically, all of my risers mainly from Damron Decor, who is Jackie Damron actually in the chat. I think she is, there has never been a Replica service collection that I have done that I didn't use a few of her stuff. I do like to have kind of a mixture of things, so there's another company that makes, like, if you ever see the resin looking props like this, I get them from a different company called Prop Face. And I also use a lot of stone props in my photos. I get my stone props like this from a company called Block Set Project. I try to get all of my props from local businesses and small business owners just because we're all in this together. If we don't have each other's backs, no one does. But all of my favorite props have been from other small makers. You can, of course, grab some stuff from, like, Michael's or from, like, Target, but they're truly, I don't think I have my Target item in here. I have, like, one random thing from Target, and it's not even just because I'm a huge fan of Jackie Damron and Damron Decor. The quality is a huge difference, and when you're shooting product photos, those small details really do matter. So something like having a more high quality grain in the wood makes for a more high quality looking photo. Alright, so with this, as I was saying, I like to have an idea of, like, what is the story behind this shot? Because right now it just looks like I grabbed a random prop off my shelf and I grabbed a random product. So how does this work? They kind of look good, you know, I have, like, neutral tones going on. This looks fine, so why use Designscape, besides the fact that it was requested for a VIP pairing? Well, these are bath salts that are called Soothing Oats. So I would style this photo in mind to promote it for people who are artists or small business owners, people who are working. I think that Designscape looks like a setting that I would work in. So if I use it as a background and I'm using a bath product, it's kind of reminding me, like, hey, don't forget to take a break from work and actually do some self-care and take care of yourself. So that's kind of the look we're going to go for this. And then I'll show you how that look changes as we switch the back surface. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to add a styling towel to wrap around this. If you're ever kind of stumped on, like, so we have, typically I do like to start with a riser, and then I typically place my product. That's like probably 80% of the time, that's like my first 2 steps. If you are ever in doubt of, like, what else could I add? almost always a styling towel. The reason that I always use styling towels and florals or greenery is because they pretty much go with everything. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And for this, I'm actually going to add a white styling towel. So we'll just flip this. So typically, I get this question a lot. I don't think I've actually ever said anything or filmed it, but I just have a styling towel here. This is just a styling towel. The way I actually store my styling towels is I actually wrap them up and then I roll them like this, and this keeps them from getting wrinkly. Having a little bit of wrinkles is okay, but you don't want to have like actual creases. So when I first grab my styling towel, let's say it's just like that, what I'll do is I'll typically grab it by one of the corners like this, and then I'll grab it by the other corner, and then I just twist my hands like this and just kind of twist it as a spin. You know how like back in the day when you were a kid, like people would do this with a towel and then like try to smack each other? Basically like that. And then we just kind of wrap it around, and then I just kind of fluff it up. So I fluff up the ends, I pull back so there's not as much in the front, and then I like to have some of the layers kind of sitting like this so you can kind of see the texture of the towel. So we're just go ahead and add that. And then I always make sure you don't see the tag. So something that I talk about a lot on my Patreon or on my Instagram is look for small details that would make a big difference. Now, this is a body scrub, so there's nothing that's like messy up here. I mean, there's a little bit of dust, so I'm definitely going to kind of like brush that off. But if I was shooting something like a candle or something like a body scrub and it had a little bit of like, you know, smudge around the edges, clean that off with a Q-tip or something. It'll make a huge difference in your photo. Something if you're doing, once again, like a lotion and there's a little bit of like an empty thing, like I have, 1 second. This is a product I use often with Replica photos, and you can see it's not all the way full because it's technically like a year or two old. So whenever I shoot it, I give it a good shake, and I put it down and I take a picture so that it looks full. Small things like that make a massive difference when you're doing photos. All right, so after this, all we're going to do is add a loose piece of greenery. Now, because I don't have any back props, typically I like to do the diagonal thing where you have one thing tall in the back and then something small. So how would I decide which side I want this on? Well, technically it could go on either side. That part doesn't matter. However, because Designscape has this plant in this back, I actually want to go opposite of that and go here. Now, this isn't like a deal breaker that you have to do it. This is just what I like to do. So we're just going to put this here. I'm going to give this a little twist. And 1 sec. I think the camera went a little bit blurry. Let me just double check it and fix it. Configure video. One sec. Let's just make sure this is nice and sharp. All right, apply. All right, and that should be better. Whenever you're doing like live streaming thing, it is just tradition for like either audio to get messed up or the camera to get messed up. So bear with me. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shoot the shot, though there is one last thing that I would like to do for this. Give me 1 second. So whenever I'm shooting a product like a bath salt, I like to have a little bit of texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just kind of pull this corner over a little bit like this. I have these in other sizes. And then I'm actually just going to sprinkle a little bit over here. So let's just see how that looks. that. And when you're doing something like scrubs or anything that has a texture, you want to help have that texture. So if I would have used like a spoon and scooped this out, then it would have made it too smooth. I wanted to have kind of this like almost like chunky type of texture so you can almost really see it much better what it is. All right, we're going to go ahead and shoot this. Actually just going to twist this just a smidge, just so you want your product completely centered straight. Go ahead and just shoot this. Now, I'm actually going to switch the back surface. So I have two other surfaces that we're going to do. So now, something I like to do, but you have to make sure you are extra careful with this, I'm actually going to put kind of like a safety thing at the top that kind of helps it from going. You can't see it in the frame, but what I'm doing is I'm grabbing one of the L stands that you use to hold the corners together, and I'm actually going to put it on this backboard so it sticks out kind of like this, so I can actually just take another surface and place it like this, and just let it sit. And then I don't have to worry about that surface falling because I'm just using it for a split second just because I'm doing a variation of the shot we just did. So the first shot we did was kind of like a, hey, you should take a break from work and you should relax. Now we switched it to this surface. Let me take that picture real quick. And with this surface, now it's kind of like more of a vacation, more of a, you're going on vacation, don't forget to pack your soothing oats, bath salts while you're on vacation so you can truly relax. So you always want to kind of have something in mind of why are we taking this? What is kind of the method behind it? Now you don't always have to do that, but it does kind of help. And it also, when you think that way, it gives you an idea of how you can promote this photo, because it's not just about having fantastic photos. It's also about how you're going to use those photos. Unfortunately, our photos don't post themselves and write captions for us like we all wish they did. Now we're going to switch this surface. And now, this one, instead of the first one, we were kind of going as a break from home, well, a break from working. Then we're going to remember to take your stuff while you're on vacation. And this one is more just kind of a cozy home vibe. So we're going to shoot this really quick. And that's kind of how, like, my method of when I'm doing multiple photos and stuff like that. Something that's nice with this is when you're doing product, like if you are a maker and you're taking product photos, and even if you are a photographer, you know, something as simple as just switching the back surface. One, you might not know what surface is actually going to look better or until you actually shoot. Sometimes I'll think like, I don't know how I feel about this surface, and then I switch it to another one, and then after I actually edit the photos, I'm like, wow, that first surface that I wasn't sure about is actually my favorite one. I love how this photo looks. However, on that same note, I like that I have those two extra options because I'll post that first photo first, and then the other photos I can post closer to summertime, or I can post it closer to fall. I can reuse those photos and it's not the exact same photo. So now we're going to break this down and we're going to do one more styling. This. And just a reminder for everyone who's watching, if there is a pairing you would like to see with the Artisan Collection, or if you have any questions about product photography or the Artisan Collection, totally let me know in the comments. Or the live chat, since this is live at the moment. But there will be a replay for everybody who missed this, so everybody can watch it on their own time. Go ahead and switch. So I will be posting these photos on my Instagram, and I'll also be posting these photos tomorrow morning in the Replica group. And a reminder to everybody, if you are interested in these backdrops actually are released and available for sale tomorrow at 10:30 Central Time. I'm Eastern Time, so I always get confused, but it's 10:30 Central Time is when these services are actually available for anybody who wants to get them. So we're going to go ahead and do another one. So this was a request I actually got from the Instagram. One of my favorite photos I did was with midnight at the bottom, and then I paired it with forest glow. So somebody asked me, how would it look if we used the new sapphire with forest glow? And I said, well, let's find out, because we'll never know. So I actually love these two together because they have this light type of blue in this, and this light blue, also this is much more textured that you can see, which I am all for texture. This, I am absolutely already loving how this looks. So we're gonna go ahead and style this. One second, let's see what products we can come up with. So I think that I want to lean into blue for this one, and the other one I used a stone riser for it, but this time I want to lean into blue. So I'm actually going to use a blue prop here. And let's see what product I want to use. So I'm going to go with this little figure of a character from a video game. We're just going to keep it like this. And let's see what else we have nearby. Sometimes I have, actually I have a few here, so we'll use these. Sometimes I keep random colored florals just because you never know when they could be useful. So something like this, I have these blue florals that I just got these from a grocery store. But just having something like this, just adding a little bit more kind of blue texture, is a style that I really like. I'm a huge fan of adding more of the same color I'm using in a photo as more texture. Go ahead and shoot this. And I actually want to remove this because I think I like it just looking super clean with nothing here. That's what I love so much when you have a surface that has a lot more texture to it, is you don't need as much detail down because the surface adds so much texture to it. In fact, that's probably one of my favorite things about the Artisan collection is the fact that there is so much texture on all of the surfaces. So I'll actually post both the photos of with a little floral and without so you can see what I'm talking about. But I think even in the camera, you guys will be able to see, like, wow, that actually does look much cleaner and nicer. Now we're gonna switch this again. See what else we have for sapphire. So. The camera might move as I'm grabbing the surfaces out. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move our product and our prop and start back fresh. I'll move this back surface. And the next two surfaces we're using, we're going to start with this one. And again, I'm going to do a styling that I'll be able to use for both of the different surfaces I'm using and see which one I end up liking more or how much the vibe changes from switching the back surface. So this time, I'm actually going to use the smaller pin tray. And again, I'm going to actually flip it upside down. I don't know if you guys can actually see the gorgeous detail in this, but if you haven't purchased something from Damn Decor, I highly recommend it. I think I first got something from her in the beginning of 2021, and I was obsessed since then. The product we're going to be doing is going to be a sugar scrub, but this is a very dry sugar scrub. So just like the other bath salt, I'm going to take this lid off, and we want to show some texture. So I'm going to grab this. And this time, before I do this, because remember, I like to do it on the opposite side, I actually want to add a plant to this one. So we're going to go with this. And I'm sure you'll be able to guess why. But I'll be doing this plant back here. And if you didn't guess, it is because it has a nice blue pot. So I want to add my texture opposite of this. This is diagonal. So we're just gonna go ahead. And then I like it to have almost kind of motion. So I'm actually gonna leave this down here to make it look like someone just grabbed it and then kind of dropped it. It makes it look used. It makes it add a human touch to it. And we're actually going to put this lid back on. And then there's one more thing I want to add. I'm going to add another styling towel. This one I'm going to go with a blue one. We're just going to twist this and put this here. So, again, I am a huge fan of leaning into colors. Now, I don't mind that this is sitting out because my crop is going to be like this. So you're only going to see basically from here to here. You'll see in the final photos that I post tomorrow. Now we're going to go ahead and switch this back surface for one that looks similar but a little bit darker. And go ahead and shoot. And tomorrow you guys will have to let me know when I post the photos, which ones did you like more when we did these multiple stylings. Pull this back down. Now, for those who weren't here in the beginning, my name is Jess. I'm a product photographer that has been doing this for a few years. I am Replica Surfaces photographer, though this was not sponsored or endorsed by Replica. I was originally a Replica customer before I started even working for them, and once I got hired from them, I always thought that it'd be fun to kind of do something with the community because I am a part of the community, even though I work for them as well. So I like to typically do the VIP request thing is something that I do by myself on my own time because I think it's fun. It challenges me to be creative. I've never done like a live setup like this, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, then I'll start doing this maybe like once a month. It's definitely fun to have you guys all in the chat to be able to ask questions and be along with me so you can kind of hear the process because I do a lot of videos. I make videos for Replica on their formula course. I also make videos on their YouTube. And then, of course, right here, this is my own YouTube that on my YouTube, I actually post every single week. I do 2-Minute Tuesdays with a 2-minute styling video that you can style a photo with under 2 minutes. And everything like that. But I am a very friendly person. You can always send me a message. It's best to kind of message me on Instagram. That's where I respond the most. I don't ever see my Facebook messages. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it is Product Photo Class. Totally feel free to follow me, send me a message, ask me any questions you guys want, and subscribe to the YouTube so you can be a part of the 2-Minute Tuesdays. Anytime I do lives, this is where it's going to be. I would like to do another live where we actually do a product request instead of just backgrounds, where you guys actually request to see certain products. But I've had you guys for roughly around an hour. It's almost about like 8 p.m. my time. I'm sure a lot of people are ready to go eat, ready to go shoot some things themselves. So if anyone has any other questions, I'm going to do a few more photos to post in the group, but we're not going to live stream them. So I will be posting these on my Instagram tomorrow. I'll post them on the community tab in YouTube, and then I'll also post them in Replica's group. But any last questions before I sign off and let you guys all free back? And I will just kind of clean this back up while we're waiting. You also have to let me know which of the surfaces from the artist collection have been your favorite. This is probably one of the collections that was the hardest for me to pick a favorite from because I just love how all of them look. I do really favor kind of more of like neutral textured things, so I really liked Canvas and the Chai one, but I am obsessed with this color blue. I think it looks gorgeous. I love the texture for it. I think Oil Spill is by far my favorite of like the dark textured surfaces. I really used to like Slate, and I still love Slate, but Oil Spill just has something really nice about it, especially like, I'll actually put it up for a sec so you guys can see it. Oil Spill is absolutely gorgeous as both a bottom surface for flat lay, and I especially love it in background. You can't really see from my webcam. Let me just turn this light so you can see a little bit better. But the texture that this has, which I won't restyle this, but we'll just kind of put this here so you can actually see a product. Or you know what? What the heck? Let's do it again. Put this back here. And put it here. And just see how we're looking. And just take a shot like this. But definitely curious to see which surfaces are your favorite, or which surfaces you're thinking about going, or what other pairings you guys would like to see. Again, this video is going to stay up, so anybody who's watching a replay, totally go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know something else you'd like to see, any other questions you'd like to have. I'll respond to all the comments. And I might even do another video that's a live Q&A just to help answer any questions you guys have about product photography, business, anything in general. But that's all from me. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!